Okay, tonight we are going to look at the concept of adding integers. Now, when we do adding integers, we're actually going to look at this from three different perspectives. Two of them I'm going to show you tonight. One of them we'll do in class tomorrow with our inquiry lab. But I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. And he's going to help us do this. So let me pull him up for a second. There he is. Okay, so there he is. This is Mike the Miner. It's our old mascot, but I think we'll use him for it. It could be fun to use him, and I'm going to copy him there because we're going to use him quite a bit. But Mike the Miner is going to help us with some of the things we're going to do. And we're going to start with adding of integers. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to do the problem 2 plus 3. Let's take a real simple one. I'm going to draw a number line for a second. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to paste in here our Mike the Miner here. And Mike the Miner always starts at 0. Always starts at the 0. 2 plus 3 says take him and move him 2 spaces forward. He walks 2 spaces forward. And then the plus says he walks another 3 spaces forward. And of course he ends up at the 5. So the first thing he did was he walked 2 spaces forward, and then he walked 3 spaces forward to end up at the 5. So we found out that 2 plus 3 was equal to 5. Now, let's say I have 4 plus negative 2, and I want to know what that's equal to. So again, I'm going to draw my number line here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to grab Mike the Miner here. If I could. It's not letting me do that. There we go. And we grab Mike the Miner. And we're going to move Mike over back to the 0 there. And we know it starts, it says Mike's going to go forward 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. But then it says plus negative 2. Well, if a positive number means to go forward, a negative number would mean to go backwards. And so what I did was I went forward 4, and then I went backwards the negative 2. And hence my answer came out to be 2. Now, if you think about that, I wonder if there had been another way I could have done that instead of walking forward and walking backwards. And the answer is, well, I could have subtracted 4 and the 2 and also gotten 2. Let's look at one more problem. Let's say my problem is negative 2 plus negative 1. Draw the number line. I think I'll start 0 here. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. We will paste him in here. Lower him down, move him over to the 0. And let's see, negative 2 plus negative 1 says, walk backwards 2. Okay. And then, walk backward another 1. And that puts us to our negative 3. So we started by going backwards to negative 2, and then went backwards another 1 to negative 3. Again, I wonder if there would have been an easier way to come across doing that. And in fact, there is. I could have just added almost the negative 2 and the negative 1 together, but that doesn't really make sense, but it will later on. So Personally, walking on a number line sounds great, except when you get like 257 plus negative 389. I'm not walking that, and I'm not even going to want to make a number line that big. So if there's another way I could do that, and there is, and this is where the rules start to come in. And so what I want to look at are the addition rules for integers. Now, I'm going to make a line here because I want to compare, there's two situations that we have. Situation number one is if they have the same sign. And what I always do when I add integers, even with the same sign, is I take the absolute value, and I'm abbreviating absolute value there, of both numbers. We'll abbreviate because it's a small space here. Then, because they have the same sign, I'm going to add the absolute values together. So I'll add the absolute values together, and then the third and final step is to know, well, was the answer going to be positive or negative? And what I do is I say the answer will have the same sign as the number with the larger absolute value. Now, we'll come back to that and we'll talk about how that works. But let's talk about what happens if they have opposite signs. Meaning, what if one's positive and one's negative? Well, actually, I like if I could keep the number of rules similar, or as much as similar as possible. And the second, so I'm going to, again, take the absolute value of both numbers. So far, everything's the same. Here's where it's different. I'll subtract the absolute values. And I'm going to make a note here for you. I'm always going to do high minus low. So the highest absolute value minus the lowest absolute value. And 3, the answer will have the same sign as, sound familiar? The number with the larger absolute value. So steps 1 and 3 are exactly the same. It's step 2 where you have to think, same sign, opposite signs, and do I add or do I subtract? Look at some simple examples here. -4 plus -5. Well, what if I do this? The absolute value of -4 is 4. The absolute value of -5 is 5. I'm going to take the absolute values and I'm going to add them together in this case. So I do 4 plus 5, which is, and as a matter of fact, I want to get rid of this here. I want to write down below, is 9. Now, will it be a positive or negative 9? Since the larger absolute value came from a negative number, my answer will be negative. What about -6 plus 8? Well, the absolute value of -6 is 6, and the absolute value of 8 is 8. Since they had opposite signs to begin with, now I'm going to subtract 8 minus 6, and I'll get 2. But I need to know, is it going to be a positive or negative 2? The larger absolute value came from a positive number. That means my answer will be positive 2. Negative 9 plus 4. Again, absolute value of negative 9 is 9. Absolute value of 4 is 4. I'm going to do 9 minus 4, which is 5. But since the larger absolute value came from a negative number, my answer will be negative, and I will get negative 5. Let me give you a few to try here, and these will be the ones I want you to bring into class tomorrow. I would like you to do negative 5 plus negative 6. And don't worry about the parentheses there. That's just to keep it as a negative number. That's for something else later. 14 plus negative 5. Let's do negative 18 plus 11. And then I want you to try this one. Negative 5 plus 4 plus negative 5 plus 7. And see what you get when you do that one. My hint to you, order of operations. That's all for today. We'll see you tomorrow.